Hello, everybody. Welcome to Russ Reels Live on this Thursday. I am so excited you're all with us today. It's going to be an amazing topic with an amazing panel. You know, you've got a story and a book in you. You do not want to miss the information from this amazing group. So share this out, tag your friends. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Russ Reels Live on this Thursday afternoon. I am so excited for the show. So many amazing authors are here with me today. And you know what? I really believe this because I heard once from a very wise man, Mr. D. Scott Smith, who will be with me shortly, that everybody's got a story in them and that everybody's got a book buried deep inside. You just have to let it out. We're going to talk about that today because you have a story. And you need to tell that. And you'll learn from these authors about their stories and what they've done and how they went through it. So maybe it will help you out in the process. So super excited about the show today. And I tell you, this is one of my favorite shows because we have so many amazing people that come together. It's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. Not only do we go live at 4 p.m. Pacific, but then it sits on LinkedIn and YouTube forever, Facebook for 30 days. So you can go back and watch it forever. And that's a reason you really want to join our YouTube community. I'm telling you, because that is where the magic happens and we keep it all together. And how you do that? You go to russreels.live. Man, if you know the name of this show, it's not going to be too hard to find it. Russreels.live will take you directly to our YouTube page. And I'm telling you, it's growing, it's booming, it's blasting with amazing people. So not only can you have thousands of people that you can learn from and gain value from, but you can also find out information so you can connect to those people as well. So do that today. Go to russreels.live. Appreciate you for doing that. This show, again, is every Thursday, but after it goes live and it sits on social media forever, guess what? There's more. What? You're kidding me. Yes, there's more. Then it goes to audio podcasts, and you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Pandora. I mean, we'll go on and on and on. It pretty much any major application for audio podcast, you will find this. So please like, share, and engage wherever you listen or watch, because it means a lot, not only to us, but to the other people in the show, because then you can ask questions, you can engage them, but also you can engage the people in the comments. It's a great place to connect and build community. So right now, I'm telling you, do me a huge favor. We get started here. First thing we need to do is remind everybody that we're on today. So if you would please share this out, you can hit the share button, let people know, or you can just tag your friends, put the @ sign in their name and their handle, and you'll know that we're on today. And it'll remind them, because we all get busy and we all need reminders what's going on. So thank you for doing that. I want to do that. And I'm going to get my co-host of two of my shows, and Mr. D. Scott Smith, next. He is an amazing friend and the one that encouraged me to write my first book. Hey, Scott.
Hey, it's great to be here tonight. And I love the comments already coming in. Deborah and Catherine, and the D in D. Scott apparently stands for divine. Thank you to Deborah and Catherine for that. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I always do that, Scott. Well, you know what?
I thought it was debonair, but I'll take divine.
I'm just, I'm so blessed by you because I never thought that I would write a book until you encouraged me and really kind of gave me a little nudge in that book writing direction. And now, between my anthologies and my solo books, I'm up to 6 and working on my 7th. And so, just such a blessing for you. But give the folks a greeting tonight.
Well, that's I just encourage people, go ahead and start writing that book. And I'm going to give people the tip right now, early on. Open up another tab, go to kdp.amazon.com, kindledirectpublishing.com. There's some great folks that are coming in here tonight to share about writing books. And I will say, John Mann, we just had him on the show. He's going to give you some excellent advice. I'm going to give you some adequate advice. kdp.amazon.com, Kindle Direct Publishing. Open up an account, write your book. You can use the Kindle formatter. You can use the Amazon cover creator, and you can hit publish. And by Sunday night, you will be a published author. That's all I have to say. It's been great being on your show. We'll see you next week.
Well, thank you. That was a quick performance and appreciate that, Scott. I am telling you, it's easier than you think, people. And so anyway, Scott, thanks so much for joining me tonight and really helping me kind of kick this off. Just want to remind you all that Scott and I are on several times a week, both together and independently. Go to russhedge.com or dscottsmith.com for more information on all of that. Also, for the two of us, you could go to local.theexperience.video. Better throw that out there. Lots of information about both of us, including books we've written. But at russhedge.com and dscottsmith.com, you will find out a ton of information. We'll talk more about that as the night goes on. But I really want to get, Scott, our other guests in the room. So let's keep
let's
rolling.
Get the experts in.
There you go. We'll go with that. So we're going to bring Janet in next. She's already and smiling. Hey, Janet.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing so good, so good. So Janet, I've been blessed to have several conversations with Janet now. Had her on my other live stream. You've been on once or twice?
Twice.
She was so good. There was like an uproar for a callback, so we had to get her on again. So
a repeat offender. I like it.
That's it. A repeat offender. So Janet, I know the amazing things you're doing. Give everybody a little intro. Who are you? What are you up to?
Okay, well, I'm Janet McConnell. I'm an author and I'm a public speaker. I am a senior division bodybuilding competitor. I'm turning 70 in 2 months. I'm a fitness coach and a longtime student of reinvention. So my professional life had a really wide variety to it. I was a middle school teacher, director of operations for an educational software company, marketing for private robotics university, and owning my own fitness business. And I came to publishing writing later in life. So if you were listening, you think, oh, I'm past my prime. Believe me, you have a lot to say. In fact, the longer time goes by, the more you have to say. Don't wait too long. So I had a health crisis in midlife, and it made me rethink everything, not only how I lived in my body, but how I understood aging, identity, and possibility. Russ, do you want me to talk a little bit about my book, or are you going to circle back?
We'll circle back on that, but I want to tell you, it's a pleasure to have you on. And all those, let me see a show of hands who all agree that Janet looks nowhere near 70. So let's just go with that. We can agree with that right off the bat. But no, I love what you're all about. Okay, next we're going to get Tammy in, amazing author as well. Hey, Tammy.
Hi, Russ. Hi, D. Scott Smith. This is the first time we're meeting.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Tammy. Thanks for joining.
I just got blown away, Janet. I'm 63.
Yay!
You look younger than me. I'm blown away, Janet. So we just connected also. We have to follow up with each other. But I am so blessed to be back with Russ. Russ, you inspire me in a lot of ways. Okay. We have so much in common, going through cancer and everything and our journeys. But for me, everybody's like, I'm an author, I'm in this, I'm in that. So yeah, I'm an author. That's why I'm back here. But um, I'm a messenger. I'm God put me here for a reason to do my messaging, and I'm all about getting back to being a human and how we do that today and how we message that to our loved ones. I was always more in the brand, messaging side because that's what my business was. But you know what? Like Janet was saying, it's never too late because most of the things that I started doing happened later in life. But I started transitioning into messaging, the personal messaging, like how we conduct ourselves to our family, how we share with them, how we connect with them, because that ripples out to everybody else. See, business leaders, everything you want to do. So yeah, that was a big find. That mission came from God, but also it just came from living and going through life and life's
Yeah,
gifts. So that's
that
that's
is
that's my thing. That's what I do.
that is so good. And I read your book about texting your children, and I just love that. So anyway, we're going to keep moving and get everybody in the room here. But I mean, just amazing stories here, everybody, and so such a diverse group of people. We're going to get in an author that Scott and I just recently had on our show, Mr. John David Mann, the co-author of The Go-Giver and the author of the book that I'm reading right now, which is amazing. And for some reason, John, I'm forgetting the name. It's Steel what?
Fear,
There you
fear,
go.
trepidation, nervousness. No, yeah, still fear.
That is what I'm reading, and I am just already just completely captivated. I love it. So give everybody, besides being a New York Times bestselling author, give everybody a little rundown. Who is John?
Okay. Thank you, Russ. Nice to see you, Disco. So that's my name for you. Divine is good, but Disco is awesome. So yeah, my name is John David Mann. I'm an author of somewhere north of 40 books, but I'm totally with Janet about the whole reinvention thing. I am a big fan of reinvention and a big unfan of the illusion that we're already cooked, baked, and done, and we can't really change because of our age. I'm over 70, so I'm the senior so far, and I didn't write any of those books, those 40 plus books, until I was in my second half century. Right, I started doing this in my 50s. So yeah, it's not too late. It's definitely never too late as long as you're breathing on the north side of the soil. I'm best known for The Go-Giver, which I wrote with my friend Bob Berg. People have asked, how do you guys work together? How do you write together? The way my co-authorships work is I partner up with somebody who will market the book and I write the book. Bob approached me and said, I want to make a deal. I got this idea for a book. I don't know how to write it though. You write it, I'll promote it. And we never signed a contract. We have no agreement on paper, but over 1 million copies of the book later, we still have that handshake over the phone. And I've written parables like The Go-Giver. I've written memoirs. I've written business books. I've written, as Russ is pointing out, thrillers. Steel Fear is the first of a trilogy of thrillers, which has been a gas to write. But I also did not start out as a writer. I started out as a musician. I played the cello as a composer. I started a school. I was an educator. I did a bunch of stuff. And there was never a moment where I said, I'm going to be a writer. I just kind of backed into it. So here I am. I guess in the second half of my century, as I said, I figured out what it was I was put here to do. And this is it. But I'll add this. It's in the last couple of years, I've done something new for me, which is I started a coaching program. So what I do now is I help aspiring authors to write their books, not just write them, but to write them and make them fulfill their maximum potential, write them to be as excellent and as successful as they can be. And I'm loving it. I've got people in my class writing parables and memoirs and novels and business books. And it's all the same adventure. It's all the same mountain to climb. So delighted to be here with this auspicious company.
Well, it is so great to have you. And so I am on the bandwagon of You're Never Too Old. In fact, Scott and I just got back from Podfest. And while we were there, the question was raised, are you too old to podcast and live stream if you're over 50? And I'm thinking, man, the number of things that I have done over 50 are just like crazy. I got my ministry credentials. I started live streaming and podcasting. I became an international best-selling author several times over. I started so many things. I overcame cancer. There's so many things I've done since I've turned 50 that I feel like I must have been sleeping in the first half of my life because I'm just ready to go. So, but this next man, Fred, I'm telling you, puts me to shame. Not only I thought I was one of the most positive guys around, Fred puts me to shame and more life experience than me. Welcome, Fred. How's it going, buddy?
Well, look, Russ, you and Scott, how did you put this magnificent? Look at these two beautiful ladies and this wonderful guy writing mysteries and all of this kind of stuff. And yeah, Bob Berg is a fan. I truly like Bob. He's a true friend, and he's a great guy. We do a lot of stuff back and forth on LinkedIn, but and Tammy, you're just a beautiful lady, and your story is great. Janet, your resume is just imperative. It's just impressive. You guys are just so neat. You're just neat to be around. Except, John, you're not the oldest. I'm sorry. I'll be 81 in March. So,
Yay.
Colonel Sanders started doing chicken when he was 65, and I've been doing a bunch since I was 70. So, 68. I've been all kinds of stuff. I was a mechanic. I was an electrician for a long, long time. Worked for Texas Instruments and Raytheon. Became a Six Sigma expert. Did a whole bunch of stuff as a supervisor. Taught some safety, and I do a bunch of seminars all about everything I do is about attitude. And I was fortunate enough to know Zig Ziglar and his son, Tom. Tom has been a blessing to me. He's endorsed a couple of my books, and he dubbed me the attitude guru. So now I got a hard problem living up to it, Russ, and you guys. So it's just, you all are amazing. I also am a musician. John, I play the guitar, a little bit of keyboards. We went all over the place just doing some stuff. Ended up in Chicago for 2 years, and I'm still doing. In fact, tomorrow evening, I do a lot of singing concerts at assisted living homes and memory care places. And these communities are great. They're a captured audience. They can't go nowhere, right? But they're really beautiful. They're beautiful people. And I've talked to people that are 104 years old. They were World War II pilots. They were nurses in the war. They were all this. They have stories that were just, they're wonderful to be around. And so, luckily, I just published my 4th attitude book, and it came out on the 10th of this month. And I've got 3 others that I've done. I've also co-authored one with a couple other guys. And just like you said, none of you guys figured you kind of backed into being an author, because I was kind of thought that'd be kind of fun, but just somehow it started doing it. So here we all are, a whole group of wonderful people sharing our stories by books, speaking, and being on podcasts like this. Thanks, Russ. Scott, you guys are beautiful people, man. I love you guys.
Well, I'm so glad you're on tonight, and we're going to talk more about your latest book, which I was blessed to be an endorsement on. And so appreciate that so much, Fred. And Fred was an endorsement on my latest book, Life Happens and Then You Choose. So thankful for Fred on that. Fred, I got to tell you real quick before we jump back to Scott here. You don't know, well, you probably do know, but people don't realize what a blessing it is for people like yourself that go in and joyfully just engage seniors in senior living homes, memory cares or whatever. My mama ended up passing away in her memory care with Alzheimer's, but she had a lot of life in her all through the first couple of years. And Scott knows, because there's tons of hashtag happy moments with mama videos that I took with my mama. And so she still was entertaining people, playing the piano, singing for people in her memory care. So there's a lot of life left in them. But Scott, okay, I want to get back to our topic. We're all talking about amazing things that we do and amazing stories. And that's really what books are all about. Take it away.
So I published the first book when I was in 2018, and I'm one of the kidlets around here. So I'm 64, so older than Russ, but younger than Fred, so somewhere in that range. There was a research paper, and reach out to me and I will send it to you. I'll send you it's called "What Kind of Genius Are You?" And what they looked at in the research was, when did people come up with these breakthrough ideas? And basically, those who published these great works or painted great paintings or whatever their masterpiece was, if they did it when they were young, in their 20s or so, that was kind of it. And what they found was the ones who started publishing later, 50 plus, or creating, painting, composing, the body of work was much richer, much more in depth, and much more. So, age is, as they say, just a number. But I published the first book in 2018. And the reason I did is because I had something to say. And I will say, this is one of the most valid reasons that people should write a book, publish their book. Because there's only 3 reasons why you publish a book. You have something to say, you have something to sell, like, you're a coach or a consultant, or you have products, and it's the thick business card, or you're trying to get royalties from the books. And if you want to do that, talk to John and get into his coaching program, because you need to work with someone who's done that before. But I would say, just to publish a book to add to your legacy, to your body of work, is worth it. And think, if your grandparents or great grandparent, if one of them had written a book, and it doesn't matter what it was, it could be a business book, a fiction book, could have been family, just memoirs. If you had that book today, you would treasure that. And think about your generations, children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. And they say, oh, this was the book that that my great aunt Tammy wrote, right? And just think what that means to them, right? I mean, we're gone, but think about what it means to them. And so that's why I encourage people. I said at the beginning, kdp.amazon.com. If you have a phone, dictate your book, get it transcribed and edited, get some friends to help you, and publish it. The last thing I'll say is I had a professor, my finance professor in college. He taught from his own book, and he mentored the junior professors to say, when you're doing your research chapter 1 and research chapter 2, and when you publish that, and eventually you'll be able to compile those into a book. So today, if you publish a 20-page book on Kindle, think of that as chapter 1. Then in a few months, publish chapter 2 or chapter 5. And eventually you can compile those and get them edited and build a nice cover and do a good job. But once you start, you will be addicted, and you're going to be like John, publishing 40 some books, 70 books. I don't know how many books John has in him. They're going to keep coming.
Yeah. Well,
He's
that
only
is
40, right?
Yeah, there you go. Well, and the thing is, it's true. I saw Fred shaking his head. It is true, because once you get started, it is kind of exciting and an addiction. It makes you want to write more. And Tammy, we talk about everybody has a story, and yours is deeply ingrained in your whole comeback, recovery, new life, regeneration, whatever you want to call it. It was amazing. And that's important. It encourages other people, right, Jenna?
Absolutely. I'm thinking that one of the things that happens is you think you're writing a book because you have something to say, and you end up answering your own questions about yourself. I mean, these days I'm asking myself, what are the stories I tell myself? And what is a story that's holding me back? And what are the ones that need some alchemy so that I can make a difference for other people? But then it ends up changing you. It's such a crazy trick you play on yourself.
Yeah, no, totally. It is. And, I want you to mention, again, the name of your book and where people get it real quick, because we're going to keep doing that throughout the show.
Okay, well, this is my book, Elements of Aging Well, My Journey So Far. I wrote it when I was 65. So something there is that's a message for those of you that are hesitating. I literally woke up on my 65th birthday at 4 a.m. with this gasp of air of, how much longer am I going to wait? Am I going to wait until I'm 70? When am I going to write this? Stop talking about you're going to write a book and write a book. And this is a KDP book, by the way. So I did exactly what you said, Scott, about what to do with writing a book and how to do it so easily. But it's about, first of all, the awakening I had when I had this health crisis, and then what I learned along the way and how I built myself back to health, and then went beyond where I was when I started into being really interested in healthy longevity and what it takes to go the long haul and have fun along the way.
Well, and sometimes your adversity that you persevere through is going to be a huge, huge help for somebody else on the other side. And that is what your story is all about. And Tammy, you really opened up with technology today and problems of communication. I love your book about texting your sons. And, you know, you can talk about whatever you want, but I'd love for you to highlight a little bit about that part of your story.
Well, so my book is Text Messages to My Sons, a guide to using mobile devices to connect and communicate with your kids. But I have to be transparent. I never started out to be an author. I never thought of it. What happened was my first kind of mental shift happened at the start of the pandemic, when everything shut down and my external validation for my career, everything shut, right? And I realized I wasn't okay. I wasn't doing well. I wasn't happy with myself. I realized I had a lot of sabotaging thoughts and limiting beliefs, but I didn't know. I just knew I was resentful and all this stuff. So I started immersing myself in programs and coaches and all kinds of really cool things. I was reading all the time. And I said, you know what? Like, they don't teach us stuff in school. Like, there's no courses that are like worthiness, gratitude, appreciation, like what limiting beliefs. We don't learn these things. Nobody talks about it, especially the generation I grew up in. So I said, you know what? My kids definitely, for sure. I mean, I was involved with their education growing up. They didn't learn this, and I definitely didn't teach it to them. So I said, you know what? I want to share this, what I'm learning. I want to share with my kids. Like, I'm done at talking at them. I'm done with reminding them and reprimanding them. They were already, they were growing up. They were in their 20s. They weren't little kids. Tells you, what did Janet say? It's never too late, right? It's never too late to open up a connection. It's never too late to change a relationship. It's never too late to change a conversation or change how you are. You know, we can all do this. So I started texting them. And before I knew it, everything I was sharing, quotes and everything, I was just blowing me away. Things were blowing me away. You know what? Everything started becoming like from my heart. I was just like telling them how much I love them, how extraordinary they are, how worthy they are. And you know what? That really was a big shift, because I was never the empathetic. It was hard for me to say those things. So I built this like messaging habit, like James Clear style, all the way, like every day, how am I going to do this? And it made a difference in their life and my life, to the point where I self-published the first book, only book really written in text message format. And then I wound up doing a second edition because publisher got involved and said, this is important. And my kids wrote the foreword because it matters to them, to know they matter, to know they're seen, to know that somebody loves them enough to do this. It makes them bulletproof. And the energy, like the exchange of when I send a message out, my energy shifts, and their energy when they're reading it shifts. I'm like, we can start a movement. You know what? You just need one parent, one person, one grandparent. Somebody just send a message to somebody, let them know they matter, but be consistent. So that's how it really came about. And I started realizing there's a big need for this today, because we're being overengaged. We're in algorithm fatigue, cognitive overload. We're being indoctrinated. We're getting a lot of misinformation. So our kids are. So how do you become that beacon of light? when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, the hardest thing I ever had to do, and like I know, Russ, you can relate to this, is tell your family, tell your kids what's going on. Okay. And I had triple negative breast cancer. It was a very scary diagnosis. But you know what started happening? Because I've been messaging them about resilience and life giving you gifts and accountability and all these really, there's no failure and God is with us. I've been messaging these things for years. And you know what? They told me, hey, Mom, we're strong. You're strong. We're going to do this. And they started messaging me. They were never, like, I never had an expectation for them to respond to any message I sent. But they really responded. They were asking me every day, what can I do for you? What do you need? They were messaging me. And it really came full circle because I realized God had me do this, to deepen the relationship with them, but the ripple effect of how I started communicating with my community, with my friends, with colleagues, with clients completely changed. But I realized, and Dana brought this up, I realized God had me doing these messages for years because I was talking to myself the whole time. I was connecting to myself. I didn't know when I started this. So that's the full circle moment. And that's my mission. That's all. That's what I talk about.
Yeah, that's so amazing. So amazing. You know, John, you have had so many different opportunities to just write with other people, and it's just probably opened up a wealth of information for you. Talk about the benefits of writing, not just for yourself, but working with others.
Oh, yeah. That is for sure. D. Scott said there's 3 reasons to write a book. You write because you have something to say, or you've got something to sell, or you want to earn some money. You want to earn some royalties with it. And those are great. And what I would add to that is, if you got something to sell, and that's why you want to write a book, because like you're a coach or you're a leader or you have some skill or expertise or experience that you want to share. You write a book because you have something you want to sell. You also have something to say. You need to have something to say, and you do. If you want to write a book to earn royalties, you also need to have something to say. There's really only one reason to write a book, is you have something to say. And often, we don't know exactly what that is when we start. You don't have to know exactly what it is, because you'll learn things on the path. I have a friend who's a novelist in the UK, and she showed her agent a manuscript for her finished draft of her, I think, second book or third book. And the agent read it and said, hey, it's very good. It's very good. It's just a rough draft. And she told her how far it still had to go. And she went home, and got in. Her husband found her crying in the shower. And she said to him, I've done my best. I don't know what she wants from me. I can't do anymore. I've done my best. And a few minutes later, she came down from the shower and dried off and calmed down and said, all right, I know what I have to do. I got to do better than my best. And that's really what you need to do. If you want to write a book, it's easy to slap stuff between 2 covers and publish it on KDP. But if you want to make a book that isn't just catharsis for yourself, but it's going to make an impact on the world, it's going to change the world in its own way, then the world needs you to just not write your book, but to make it excellent. I think there are actually many reasons to write a book, but in the final analysis, the benefit you get from it, you get a book you can sell, you get a book you can show, you get a book that can teach, you get a book that can earn, perhaps. But the real, the blessing, the real benefit that you get from the book is who you become in the process. And if you commit to the process of making the book the best it can possibly be, not just done and typo free, but done and gorgeous, done and like it makes you cry when you open it. It makes you laugh when you open to the first page. It's so good that it kind of vibrates on the bookshelf and it shines when people approach it. We can all do that. You become a different person in the process of doing this. You discover stuff in yourself. You discover resources that you reach down inside and find that you didn't know you had. This is why the world needs you to write your book, but only you can write it. I can't write your book. Bob Berg can't write your book. Mitch Albom can't write your book. Stephen King can't write your book. Claude also can't write your book, despite many people who think that it can. Only you can write it, because only you have lived the life that you've lived and had the experiences that you've had. And in that, you may have 1,000 thoughts about stuff that could be in your book, but there's like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 core things in your experience that are really at the heart of what you have to say. And you need to find it. That's all. You need to find it on the page.
Yeah, so good,
I
so
didn't answer
good.
your
I
question
love
at all, Russ. I didn't
What was
answer your
that?
question. I didn't answer your question at all. Sorry about that.
No, you are perfect. You're perfect. And you know what? We're just going to let Fred take it from there because he's just boiling over here. Go for it,
You guys are
Fred.
amazing. The advice you just gave, John, is just solid, so solid. And Tammy, Janet, both of you ladies, that's right. We all have a story to tell. And whether you do it just for money or just because you want to write a book, every book that you do write, regardless of your reasons behind it, you have something to say, right, John?
Yeah.
And in doing that, the result is it always helps somebody out there. Somebody will pick up that book and get so many nuggets out of it. So many, what I call, I do a story about pebbles, gathering a bunch of pebbles, and they turn into diamonds. And it's a beautiful story. It's out of Chicken Soup with a Soul. But always a nugget in every book that everybody writes. I don't care if it's a novel or whatever. There's always a saying or something. We always learn just by reading. And thank God there's a whole lot more people reading more today than they were, say, 10, 15 years ago. And it's great. I was so fortunate. Like I hadn't planned on writing a book. My first book came about this way. In 2000, now I think it was 4, I went into this, fast food drive-in place, and the little box on the wall, you say, "How can I help you?" Yeah, you can take more. So I told him what I wanted, and I knew the kid didn't understand what I said or didn't do it right. So when I got my order, I looked at it and I thought, what is wrong with these kids? They're just not listening. They're not polite. They're not this. They're not that. Good grief! And I was saying all the wrong things and thinking all the wrong things. God touched me on the shoulder and says, "Why don't you do something about it?" What am I going to do? He says, "You have your positive attitude. Change that into a direction for these kids, because they're not being taught how to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am anymore much. They get all tied up in their texting and everything." And so I thought, well, what can I do? So I talked to Tom Ziegler, and he said, well, just break it down into 10 simple things that they could do. And it all comes down about their attitude, simple and pure. And it's about being polite, how you dress, how you look, how you carry yourself, the things you say, the way you learn, the way you speak. And it turned out to be my first book, which was Success with an Attitude. And then my next one was, because I was doing a lot of these seminars and stuff in assisted living homes. And a lot of these folks, and you two ladies, you're having bouts with cancer and all kinds of things. You too, Russ, my gosh. I had a bout with serious debilitating rheumatoid arthritis 30 some odd years ago and been blessed by it. But I was seeing all these seniors that were having health problems. So I thought, well, how can I write a book about health with an attitude and how important your attitude is towards your health? So I started going to these seminars that these oncologists would do at a huge hospital here, a training hospital for interns. And I would interview the doctors and oncologists after every lecture. I would go take notes and everything. I didn't understand a word they said. Way over my head. But I would walk up to them and I'd say, how important is your patient's attitude in their recovery in cancer? Every one of them, male or female doctors, they all said, oh my gosh, the patients with a positive attitude, they respond better to chemotherapy and radiation treatment. They heal faster, quicker, better, and more completely than those with a negative attitude. So I started gathering all this information that I could about attitude and health, and I read, and I went, like you say, all of you say, the more you want to write about it, the more you dig into it, and the more you learn, and the easier it is to write because there's so much to write about.
Yeah.
So you start writing this stuff, and it's just, and when I did publish the book, you know, I started sharing it with a lot of these people in these assisted living homes throughout a seminar that I wrote called, guess what? Health with an Attitude. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I love to tell stories and jokes. And I make a lot of humor in it. My PowerPoints they're not bullet point bunch of stuff. They're a lot of fun, but they get the message across. And I've had so many of the people I've gone back to tell me that, my gosh, just by changing my attitude, my problem hasn't gone away. It's not a cure-all, but I feel so much better. I have so much more energy. I'm willing to face these things. I talk to my doctor more abundantly about my case. They're more open about it with other people, and they share that. And that's just not only a blessing to me, I know it's a blessing to everyone out there. And then my third book, because I do a lot in management and stuff, and leadership has been lacking in one thing, caring about their employees. So leadership with an attitude came into play, and it's been a blessing also. And this last one that Mr. Russ helped me write, you know, he just was endorsed it with some beautiful words, and some pastors and priests and stuff have just really blessed me with their endorsements. It's called Faith with an Attitude. And I never thought I'd write a book about faith. And yet there it was, because in every one of my other books, the problems that I was trying to solve, I would always inject a Bible verse, because it always explained what I was trying to do better than anything else. And so that's how I ended up with my fourth attitude book.
Well, and you do such a great job with that, Fred. And I want to talk a little bit more about your last book before we go. But let me jump back to Scott real quick. And, you know, Scott, I think that, again, you are a genius at encouraging people. I know this firsthand, but I want you to encourage everyone that they do have a story in them. I want you to encourage everybody, because we're taking our last round here with everybody, that they do have a story within them that matters to people. Don't let limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome and all those kind of things shut you down. Take it away, Scott.
So when Russ graduated from college, and we actually walked together at Oregon State University on the very same day, we did not know each other until a few decades later, oddly enough, when we became friends and did this show. But Russ graduated from Oregon State University, and he got a job at a marketing company in Portland. There was a little upstart marketing company across the street, Wyden and Kennedy, and they came up with the world's best phrase and motto. And I think you should tattoo this somewhere where you'll see it. And that is, just do it. If you think you want to write a book, then just do it. And whether you're a morning person, you're a night person, or whatever, set the time up. But here's the deal. So I published a book called Influence, Creation of Credibility. It is an ebook only, and it's how to publish a book in 12 weeks or less, right? Write a book, publish a webinar, create a course. It's all in there, cheap on Amazon. But here's the biggest piece of advice that I recommend to everybody. If you want to write, make sure you are reading. Get books from every one of the people here and read current books. Go back and read classic books. And the best way to do that is to take the charger from your phone and put it somewhere that's not your bedroom.
Yes.
And if you have a chair, so I have in my office, I've got my lounge chair that I sit there every morning. That's where I read, and that's where I journal. Don't put your charger there. Put your charger in the kitchen, and put your phone, put your tablet, put whatever it is. But do not spend your time doom scrolling when you could be reading a book, and get a physical paper book.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, Scott, so awesome as always, and I appreciate you more than you know. So next up, we're going to bounce back to Janet. And Janet, encourage people, let people know what it's meant to you again, and how much they can affect other people and impact other people for positive.
Well, I had this book in me for so long, and I sat on it and I sat on it, and it finally just boiled out of me. And so I would encourage you to not maybe wait till that point. But one of the ways that really helps to kind of let it come out slowly so that it doesn't build up so much pressure is to write every single day, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Set aside a time. I stopped doom scrolling the news in the morning and started writing instead in a little journal. And I got a little day book, that had inspirational ideas. For example, Stephen Pressfield's daily obstacle book, where he writes about the war of art, only it's a daily book that helps you get unstuck, and it helps you face your demons. It helps you face down your excuses. And that was one that I read. And I feel like that has been such a gift because it makes you stop worrying about the world, dive in and have a conversation with yourself and talk to your muse. Literally talk to this inspirational spirit that is kind of hovering around you, and allow the inner thoughts just flow out on the page without really consciously getting in the way. It's like a stream of consciousness kind of writing. And it is amazing what ideas come up in that. And what I didn't even know was buried in my mind, it comes out because there's no fences for a little while, especially if you do it first thing in the morning when you first wake up and you don't let the day assault you yet. So that's my advice for writers. Write every day, just a postage stamp size.
That is so great. That is so great and so true. Absolutely. Staying active. And Tammy, how can you encourage people through all that you learned communicating with your kids in this new crazy culture of communication and through all of your challenges? But what a blessing it's been to other people. I know it's been a blessing to me.
Like I said, I never set out to write a book. I'm the first, I'm being honest. Okay. But I would tell people what I was doing with my kids, and they were like, wow, that's amazing. You should put that in a book. And I was like, why do I do that? I don't know how to do that. I want to be writing a book. And then I started Googling things because I didn't know what to do, and asking people questions. There are a lot of good organizations like Authors Guild and that you can join, actually, that writer beware. There's a lot of things I'm not saying, you have to Google everywhere, but the publishing industry, has a lot of information. So I started reaching out to people who are more in the know and who've done this before, written books, and how do I go about this? And I was pretty diligent, and I knew intrinsically for myself that I needed a good editor. Like, I didn't want to, even though they were all text messages, I didn't want to put out something that was poor. You have to think about that. Like, you want to make sure you have a good formatting person. Like, there's design, there's elements that go in. You're putting yourself out there, which is great. You're sharing something, but you don't want people to look at it and say, this is a joke. And I had to learn all these things. And then, you know what? The first edition, I learned so much in the industry, and I asked a lot of questions, and I said, I could do better. That's what I learned. I could do this better. I understand more. But it was always from a place of service. I never said, like, I'm going to sell this. I'm doing this for the money, because I didn't go into it. And there's nothing wrong with doing it for the money. I did it because I saw how people were reacting, how much it mattered to them to learn a way to reach out to somebody, because everybody's on a phone. Listen, whether we like it or not, we live in a digital age. I love to unplug. But I grew up in a generation that we talked to each other. We had conversations, and people aren't doing that anymore. And it doesn't matter what age you are. Everybody's like addicted to their phone. I mean, it's in our hands, right? It's in your hand. It's in your pocket. It's in your back pocket. It's in your bag. Like, that's how it is. So I said, I have to reach my kids where they are. people have to reach people where they are. And that was the premise for text message to my sons. And I just show people that, and I get the most beautiful comments from people, from my audience. And they're just like, wow, this opened up a whole new world for me. You know, from people who are going through not pleasant divorces where they're like, you know, I can't see my kid, but I let them know every day how much they matter. And you know, it just, people message me. I wish somebody told me they love me. I wish I got a message, and it's not a one and done. Like, people are yearning for human connection, you know, and that's what the whole premise of this is. So it's different in the fact that there's not chapter thought out character development. I just went at it with text messages and the whys. Like, I have why we do this, why message about gratitude and appreciation, why about leadership, a message about leadership, why share this type of information, mindfulness, accountability, resilience, why do it? Because people need to hear this stuff. They need to know that they're okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay. You know, nobody tells us this, like I said, growing up. It makes you feel bad about it. And if you do, you know, so I wanted to be the different point. And you know what, at the end of the day, you don't need $1 million. You just need a phone to let somebody know they matter. And if we each do it, one person at a time, that energy, that love energy, will change the whole friggin' energy vibration that's on this planet right now. One person at a time.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, that is so awesome. So awesome. And that is true. We all make impact on our community and our sphere of influence. And you're doing an amazing job of that. And John, you know, I mean, it's amazing that you've become a New York Times bestseller, but I bet that is not where the gratification really comes from. Really comes from the people that you touch, the people you're able to work with, and what you're really able to accomplish, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. And listen, if I could, I wish I had a yellow highlighter. I would first off, I'd highlight everything Janet said. Do it first thing in the morning when you're unsullied by all the world's input. Write every day. It's a rhythm. It's a habit. It's something you get into the habit of. And everything she said was golden. If I could then pick up a green highlighter and highlight everything Tammy said, what I love about what Tammy said is she was so committed to improving herself, right? To take it to the next level and the next level. Not afraid to hire a professional editor, not afraid to hire a professional interior designer of the interior of the book. The cover of the book needs professionally designed. I so admire you, Tammy, for doing your book the honor of making it as good as it could possibly be, and even learning from the first edition to the second edition. That's so great. And also, that's what it takes. That's exactly what it takes for you to touch the world in the way that you could. And you know, she's so right. People crave connection. We often say that's more true today than it ever was. Maybe. I think it always was. Maybe it's more true today than it ever was, but people crave connection. And you know, when you write your book and a book is out and people are reading it, it's really interesting what people really want. Like if you go to a book reading or if you are on a podcast talking about your book or whatever, people want to hear about your book, but what they really want to hear about is you. Because what really happens is they connect with you. For a lot of people, the idea of talking to an author is like, oh my God, you're an author. You must be like from another planet. You're a super being. You become a rock star just by virtue of publishing a book, even though you and I both know that you're just you and me. But there's something magical about you being in a book, and people connect with you. It's not just your book. That's why I counsel my clients when you're making your author website, don't make the website about the book. Make the website about you and your book, because people really want to know who you are. Listen, I don't want to waste time. So let me give you one pragmatic thing about writing your book, writing anything. Here's the number one thing that stops people from getting it done, from getting to the finish line of getting a finished book. They have an idea. They have this ambition. They have a big plan, a big dream, and they get out paper and they get out a pen, or they get their open Microsoft Word doc on the screen and they get their keyboard and they do a paragraph or two or three, and then they stop and they look at it and go, God, this sucks. And they erase it and they start over. And they fill a page. And then they print it, and then they sit down and they start scribbling on it, saying, oh, God, I could say this better. when you put it in the page, my experience is it never lives up to your dream. It never lives up to your expectation. It's always like, I could do better. I could do better than that. And so they edit and they go back to ground one. And they do another page and they go back to ground one. And they do another page and they go back to ground one. And after like 4, 5, 6 of these tries and crumpled up balls of paper on their floor, they quit. And they go to their graves, their book unsaid, their book unpublished. And it's a tragedy. Don't let that happen to you. And here's how you avoid it. It's something I call write drunk and edit sober. They're two different activities. They use different parts of your brain and your sensibility. Write, it's kind of like dance as if no one is watching. Write as if you can do no wrong. Write as if you know you're a genius. Write as if every word is golden, even though it's not. Because first draft's always stuff. It's true. Write as if it's amazing and you have complete confidence. You're like 17 years old and you know better than anybody else. Write like that and then don't read it. Put it aside. Maybe tomorrow or maybe a few days from now or maybe next week. Enough time for there to be an emotional space between the writing and the reading of it. When you go back and read it, now you're sober. And now you go, oh, yeah, these 3 paragraphs, there's like one sentence that's worth keeping. And that's cool because then you can dispassionately revise and edit and you can improve. If you try to edit while you're right, it's like trying to shift gears on a manual transmission while you're going down the highway at 65. You know, you're going to mess up your gears. Or it's like trying to change your spark plugs on your car while you're on a highway. You can't do it. So give yourself permission to write nonsense, folderol, garbage, a very poor first draft. Go ahead, give yourself permission to do that. And then create an emotional space before you go back and look at it and say, well, this is pretty muddy, but I think there may be a few gems in there in the shining through that mud. Let me close that by telling you a quick story, which is when Bob and I finished The Go-Giver in 2004, I think, we had our finished manuscript. We got an agent. I found an agent through a series of coincidences, you know, those things that happen when your intention is in the right place. And the agent submitted it to publishers in New York, 22 publishers. And one after the other, they said, you know, we kind of like this, but it's not for us. We published something like this recently. We don't really see how the story has a good ending. We don't really feel like this reason, that reason, blah, blah, blah. They all said the same thing. No. And they rejected it 22 times. And Bob and I went back and licked our wounds. And I spent a year rewriting the book. And I want to say, thank God they all said no, because the book wasn't ready. It was like a cake pan full of beautiful sloppy dough that hasn't yet baked. It wasn't ready for popular consumption. And I took it and covered every page with red, you know, edited and edited and edited. And then, you know, publisher number 23 said yes. And I sold 1 million copies. You want to know what? That first submission that we made, the original draft, it wouldn't have sold 100 copies. You would have never heard of me. Bob and I would have gone our separate ways. There'd be no Go-Giver, and I wouldn't be on this podcast if one of those first few publishers had said, yes, we'll take it, we'll publish it. But that's what every book is. When it's first born, it's like not ready. And you have to give yourself permission to write something that isn't ready yet, and then have the kind of commitment that Tammy had to make it what it could be.
That is such great advice, John. Thank you so much. And it's true.
Wow,
you know what?
Great.
It's great to have wisdom of people like Mr. Fred. Okay, so Fred, in our last couple of minutes, give us your wisdom to encourage people, remind them how to get your current book, and go for it.
Well, the current books are all on Amazon, and they're all 4 of them are there, and they're at a good price. So just kind of take a look at them and see if you can share them. I'm lucky enough that there's this one lady at one of the assisted living homes, and she buys a whole bunch of them. And for new people that are coming in to live there, she gives them out to them. And I try to get a bunch of them and sign, personally sign them for her and stuff. It really helps them out there. And another thing, two quick things. One is tomorrow I'm still blessed to be able to sing and do my songs and stuff. I'm going to be doing my little Vegas act, which has got a bunch of songs by Frank Sinatra, Neil Diamond, Elvis, Buddy Holly, Dean Martin, things like that. But the special gift that I get back is when I do it to memory care patients. And John, you know this for sure. Music is such a connector.
Yeah.
And you watch these people that are deep in dementia, and they come in and they just sit there, and then all of a sudden you start singing a song that all of a sudden there's a brightness in their eyes, and they start mouthing the words, and you see this. Some of them start singing it, and there's this connection there to some memory in their life and stuff, and it warms your heart so much. It's hard to sing when you're crying, but it's such a joy to do that. So music is always wonderful. It's such an attitude builder, and it's a wonderful thing. The other thing I put in the chat there, my email. You guys send me your emails. Russ and Scott both attend this every Monday morning. The Ziegler Company still has this thing that Zig started a long time, 30 years ago, having a devotion every Monday morning on Zoom. And if you send me that, I'll send you the link. And later on, I'll get you in Lori's thing. They welcome everybody to attend. You want to meet a bunch of folks out there that are just uncanny, just beautiful. They're inventors, they're writers, they do everything. They're just a group of Christians that you love to be around. Isn't that right?
Amazing group. It's an amazing group. Thank you, Fred, for telling me.
Okay, so y'all do that, and so. As far as everything else goes, just change your attitude, changing your life. Trouble is, if you change it to a bad attitude, it'll change your life too. But so make it go the other direction. All right. So God bless every one of you. I know time is short here, you guys. So love every one of you. It was a joy to meet you guys. It's just a joy to be around you all. Wow.
And Fred, real quickly, tell them how to get a hold of your most current book.
Okay, just go to Amazon.com and write in Faith with an Attitude by Fred Kienle, and it'll take you to that book and all the other three too.
Awesome. And we have everybody's book links and connection information is in the comments, clickable. And wow, thanks so much, Fred. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all of you. I want to tell you that I just want to say really shortly in about 1 minute here that I have been so blessed since Scott first encouraged me to write a book. I've been so blessed. And my latest book, Life Happens and Then You Choose, is all about perspective. If you want encouragement and you want to learn how to live a good life with a good perspective in spite of challenges, which we all have, I really would encourage you to get that. Then you can take advantage of all of the fun AI things that we have available, like this, like my amazing teammate put together.
I love it.
Me doing a book launch and a book signing at Willamette Valley Christian Supply. It was an amazing time. But what I really wanted to show people the most is I indirectly quoted my treatment oncologist. I have 3 oncology teams through my cancer journey. And this is Dr. Cohen, who is my treatment oncologist, an amazing lady, bought my book, sent me a picture of her in the book. And that was such a blessing to me. But you know what? She told me how much value and what a blessing the book was to her. And that meant so much to me. And I think that that's what we all come down to at the end of the day, get our story out there and be able to bless other people, be able to make a difference and impact other people's lives. And it's just so exciting to have that opportunity. I'm going to thank all of you, and we're actually going to say goodbye with all of you on the screen. I appreciate you all being here. Just remember, everybody, we're here every Monday and Thursday. Or no, every Thursday. Sorry, wrong show. Okay. Every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. This does convert to audio podcast. We're going to have our third co-host say hello before we go. Kermie wants to bring a little joy before we get out of here. So until next time, bless you all. See ya. Thanks for being here.